Okay, good day. We're talking about monthly debt obligations, and now we're going to scroll on down to bridge and swing loans. When a borrower contains a bridge or a swing loan, the funds from that loan can be used for closing on a new principal residence before the current residence is sold. This creates a contingent liability that must be considered part of the borrower's recurring monthly debt obligations and included in the debt-to-income ratio calculation. Fannie Mae will waive this requirement, not require the debt to be included in the DTI ratio if the following documentation is provided: a fully executed sales contract for the current residence, and confirmation that any financing contingencies have been cleared. That's fascinating to me. In other words, if the bank has this loan all set up and ready to roll, and there's a contract, maybe it's before closing, or maybe it's going to be a simultaneous close. Looks like that's some opportunities there. Again, hey, if you've got some information that I'm not understanding, please don't hesitate to reach out. Let me know. Make another video, comment in my video. Let's go into another one. Business debt in borrower's name. When a self-employed borrower claims that a monthly obligation that appears on his or her personal credit report, such as a small business administration loan, is being paid by the borrower's business, the lender must confirm that it verified that the obligation was actually paid out of company funds and that this was considered in its cash flow analysis of the borrower's business. Again, we're in a self-employed borrower here. The account payment does not need to be considered as part of the borrower's DTI ratio if the account in question does not have a history of delinquency, the business provides acceptable evidence that the obligation was paid out of company funds, such as 12 months of canceled company checks, and the lender's cash flow analysis of the business took payment of the obligation into consideration. The account payment must be considered as part of the borrower's DTI ratio if in any of the following situations. If the business does not provide sufficient evidence that the obligation was paid out of company funds, if the business provides acceptable evidence of its payment of the obligation, but the lender's cash flow analysis of the business does not reflect any business expense related to the obligation, such as an interest expense and taxes and insurance if applicable, equal to or greater than the amount of interest that one would reasonably expect to see given the amount of financing shown on the credit report and the age of the loan. It is reasonable to assume that the obligation has not been accounted for in the cash flow analysis. In other words, this has got to be really business debt. In other words, the business really has to be paying it, and the business has to really be taking advantage of or fully covering this debt. If the account in question has a history of a delinquency, you're going to have to count it in the DTI. To ensure that the obligation is counted only once, the lender should adjust the net income of the business by the amount of interest, taxes, or insurance expense, if any, that relates to the account in question. Okay, so we talked about business debt in borrower's name and bridge and swing loans. And remember, I'm Josh with Churchill Mortgage, and if you're ever looking for a place to go, if you're looking for a great lender to work with, keep me in mind. I'd love to talk to you about. I'd love to show you my system, how I keep borrowers and real estate agents happy with my service, and how I generate leads back to my real estate agents. And anyway, I'd love to work with you. If you're looking for a great company to work for, remember Churchill's and ESOP. We'd love to have you.